Welcome to Frances Reads Her Bible. Today I'm moving on to Numbers chapter 22. And Numbers chapter 22 is about Balaam and the king of Moab. So remember in the I hope you've been reading your Bible. In 21, the king of what's it called? King of the Amorites had attacked the king of Moab and had taken some land, some of his land and property. So, yes. So now the king of Moab has realized these people have killed the king of the Amorites who was bigger than me and has done all this, and they're moving to my territory. So the Israelites moved on and set up camp in the plains of Moab, east of the Jordan and opposite Jericho. When the king of Moab, Balak, son of Zippor, heard what the Israelites had done to the Amorites and how many Israelites there were, he and all his people became terrified. The Moabites said to the leaders of the Midianites, "This horde will soon destroy everything around us, like a bull eating the grass in a pasture." So King Balak sent messengers to summon Balaam, son of Beor, who was at Pethor near the Euphrates River in the land of Amal. He brought him this message from Balak: "I want you to know that a whole nation has come from Egypt. Its people are spreading out everywhere and threatening to take over our land. They outnumber us, so please come and put a curse on them for me. Then perhaps we will be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land. I know that when you pronounce a blessing, people are blessed, and when you pronounce a curse, they are placed under a curse." So the Moabites and the Midianite leaders took with them the payment for the curse, went to Balaam, and gave him Balak's message. Balaam said to them, "Spend the night here, and tomorrow I will report to you whatever the Lord tells me." So the Moabite leaders stayed with Balaam. Well, he was going to speak with God that night, so that's why he told them to wait. God came to Balaam and asked, he said, "I'm going to speak to the Lord." Okay, I think what's always interesting to me about this chapter and Balaam is this man was not a Christian, he was not Jewish, he was not a Hebrew. He's what we Christians today will refer to as a pagan, as in an unbeliever, as in not a follower of Christ. But he knew God, the God of the Hebrews, the God of the Christians. He knew God. He had a relationship with God. He obeyed God. He followed God's instructions because he was a spiritually aware man and he met God and he walked with God. So God came to Balaam. Can you imagine? God came to him and he knew that God had come to him, and God asked him, "Who are these people that are staying with you?" And Balaam answered God, "King Balak of Moab has sent them to tell me." We'll go back to 8. He told those people, "Spend the night here, and tomorrow I will report to you whatever the Lord tells me." And everywhere in the Bible, LORD in capital letters is Yahweh, is I am, the God of gods, the Lord of lords. Yes. So God is telling God now that they said that the people who came from Egypt has spread out over the whole land. He wants me to curse them for him so that he can fight them and drive them out. Then God said to Balaam, "Do not go with them and do not put a curse on the people of Israel because they have my blessing." The next morning, Balaam went to Balak's messengers and said, "Go back home. The Lord has refused to let me go with you." So they returned to Balak and told him that Balaam had refused to come with them. Then Balak sent a larger number of leaders who were more important than the first that he had sent earlier to go, converse with Balaam. He sent more powerful people, with more money, and whatnot to show him that, to show Balaam that he meant business, and whatever it was, they would pay for it. It's interesting to note, like I keep saying, this Balaam was not a Christian, he was not Jewish, he was not a Hebrew, he was not part of the Israelites, he was, from a different land. And he knew who God was, the God you and I worship. He knew who he was. He had conversations with God every night. He moved with God. If God said no, he will not go. If God said yes, he will go. It's very, and it gets me thinking, like, okay, what about people who are not Christians, who are not, that don't worship God, their religion that we believe worships God? What if they actually don't know God, maybe one or two of them? Because spiritually, yeah, and they love, revere, and work with God. And in the end they, doing judgments. Because it's been an interesting subject matter for me right from childhood. What of all these other people who worship other things, but who do good, who don't commit any evil and whatnot? Will they all go to hell? Hell because they don't know Jesus. So will the Jewish people go to hell because they don't know Jesus or believe that Jesus Christ is God? But they know God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know? So they went to Balaam and gave him this message from Balak. Please don't let anything prevent you from coming to me. I will reward you richly and do anything you say. Please come and curse these people for me. But Balaam answered, even if Balak gave me all the silver and gold in his palace, I could not disobey the command of the Lord my God in even the smallest matter. But please spend the night as the others did, so that I may learn whether or not the Lord has something to tell me. No, in his mind, he's checking, okay, will God change his mind? Let me see if he's still the same. That night, God came to Balaam and said, if these men have come and ask you to go with them, get ready and go, but do only what I tell you. It's not like Balaam forced the issue. God had told him initially, do not go. And God is not like human beings who changes his mind. You know, oh, go today, oh, don't go tomorrow. So Balaam, like most of us, wanted God to say what we wanted God to say. So the next morning, Balaam saddled his donkey and went to the Moabite leaders. God was angry that Balaam was going because he had told him from the onset, from the first time, do not go with these people. Those people are mine. Don't go anywhere. But he had to keep pestering and came back, and God said, get ready and go with them. But with somebody who knows God, who's had relationship with God for years, he should have known that he was not meant to go anywhere. And that's why God was really angry. And as Balaam was riding along on his donkey, accompanied by his two servants, the angel of the Lord stood in the road to bar his way. When the donkey saw the angel standing there holding a sword, it left the road and turned into the fields. Balaam beat the donkey and brought it back onto the road. Then the angel stood where the road narrowed between two vineyards and had a stone wall on each side. When the donkey saw the angel, it moved over against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against it. Again, Balaam beat the donkey. One thing I've learned from these few verses is that animals actually do see spirits. That's why you say dogs, they just be barking at things you don't see. Some of these spiritualists in African traditional religion, they'll say dogs actually do see spirits. They hear, even birds, they see, they know, but they do not communicate with the language of humans. So you just see dogs barking. Dogs can also sense, some animals can sense the spirits moving with people. I think I've heard it's the same with babies. There are some people they like, there are some people they do not like. They will cry, they will weep, they will wail, they will. Then there's some people they will just be so happy to be around them. You know, little kids do that too. So once more, the angel moved ahead. He stood in a narrow place where there was no room at all to pass on either side. This time, when the donkey saw the angel, he lay down. No be me will come die here. That's what the donkey was thinking. So Balaam lost his temper and began to beat the donkey with a stick. Then the Lord gave the donkey the power of speech. And the donkey said to Balaam, "What have I done to you? Why have you beaten me these 3 times?" Then Balaam answered, It's interesting to know that Balaam was not surprised, nor was he scared, nor was he put off that his donkey had developed the power of speech and could talk. Because this Balaam dude is a very spiritual man. So Balaam answered, Because you have made a fool of me, if I had a sword, I would kill you. Then the donkey replied, Am I not the same donkey on which you have ridden all your life? Have I ever treated you like this before? And Balaam answered, No. So then the Lord let Balaam, God opened Balaam's spiritual eyes to see the angel standing there with his sword. And Balaam threw himself face downward on the ground. Then the angel demanded, Why have you beaten your donkey 3 times like this? I have come to bar your way because you should not be making this journey. But your donkey saw me and turned aside 3 times. If it hadn't, I would have killed you and spared the donkey. So this donkey saved Balaam's life. Balaam replied, I have sinned. I did not know that you were standing in the road to oppose me. But now, if you think it is wrong for me to go on, I will return home. But the angel said, Go on with this man, but say only what I tell you to say. So Balaam went on with them. It's so interesting to know that if this donkey had not proven stubborn, you know, Balaam would be dead. So he saved his master from dying. Very interesting. That God didn't need to open the donkey's eyes for the donkey to see the angel. The donkey saw the angel. But he had to open the human being's eyes, Balaam's eyes to see. But the donkey saw without. That's what I'm saying. Animals see spirits. They know these things. They see the supernatural. You know, that's why people believe witches like is in cats and owls. They have eyes. They don't have that blockage that we have between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. And as always, these are my thoughts. So when Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went to meet him at Ar, a city on the Arnon River at the border of Moab. Remember, Balak is the king of the Moabites. So Balak said to him, so Balak said to Balaam, why didn't you come when I sent for you the first time? Did you think I wasn't able to reward you enough? Balaam answered, I came, didn't I? But now, what power do I have? I can only say what God tells me to say. So Balaam went with Balak to the town of Huzoth, where Balak slaughtered cattle and sheep and gave some of the meat to Balaam and the leaders who were with him. Balaam's first prophecy. The next morning, Balak took Balaam up to Bamoth Baal, from where Balaam could see a part of the people of Israel. And this is the end of the chapter. So the prophecy is going to occur in 23, Numbers 23. Mhm. It's very interesting to note that Balak, who was a Moabite, worshipped Baal, but Balaam did not worship Baal. He walked with God, he moved with God. And this man was not a Christ. This Balaam dude was not a Christian. He was not a Muslim. He was not a Hebrew. He was not Jewish. He was not, like any of the religions we have in the world today. And then he was not any of the religions that know God. The Hebrew God is a God worshipped by the Jews and the Christians. He didn't worship. Sorry, he didn't practice any of these religions, but he worshipped God. He knew God, like intimately. He knew God, not that he knew of God, he knew God. God visited him periodically. He knew God. They had a relationship. And I would say that he knew God more than many of us today. You know, God came to him, God visited him, he had discussions with God, followed God's directions, and so much more. It's very interesting to note all that. So, yes. And then also, another thing about this chapter is that animals have spiritual sight. Their whatever spiritual eyes and ears are not closed. That's why dogs just start barking for no reason, or you see things, animals, birds in the sky will just fly, as in maybe they'll just fly away from that region. Animals have spiritual sight. They see things. And your pet will just start meow, as in furiously looking at a spot. Babies do this too. Little kids do. And then people call them imaginary friends. Those are actually demons and spirits. Those little kids are relating with. They are not imaginary friends. There's no such thing as imaginary friends. Those kids are seeing spirits. So yes, animals see them. And as always in my thoughts, this is what I believe or think, and I'm no pastor or anything, but these are my thoughts. And as always, may God bless you, keep you, and may His light shine upon you. See you next time on Francis Reads the Bible. Goodbye.